tank top side and still set up for an early Jinx pick and play tactical carry.
But here's the important thing, Gwen is up. Zeri and Gwen banned every single game on red side. It is left up by 100 Thieves. They banned Zeri, Ryze, and Corki instead, and Gwen is the first pick for TSM.
So, it doesn't matter if you're a versatile top laner. You have to be able to play Gwen, and if Gwen is up, that's your first pick. So, no decision-making needed here. It seemed like with the hover on Blitz and like taking some time there, they were talking through it because nobody goes into a draft expecting their opponents on red side to not ban the Gwen.
Yeah, here's Gwen.
And so they're like, okay, what are we giving up for this? Do we want to actually first pick the Gwen and give up the tactical Jinx, which has been our core? That's our identity from last week, and that is our true identity. And they came up with the decision that, yes, Gwen is that strong right now because this champion scales so well. You can split push with it. You can team fight with it. You can do whatever you want with it after 2 items, okay?
And she's immune, so what are your opponents going to do?
Exactly, and the main reason for that is because she goes immune on a basic ability, the W. So, Huni will scale, assuming Huni takes it. It can be rotated into the jungle, but with the Jarvan pickup, that seems very much less likely. So we're assuming that Huni keeps this in top position for himself, especially if they lock in the Viktor as well. That would be double solo lane AP carries. So they definitely are going to need tactical to do well, to have some AD threat on the team. Jarvan is going to build mostly tank. So we'll see, because this is a lot of scaling for TSM. This is not a big divergence down a different path, but it does mean that they're going to be focused on scaling, okay? Both solo lanes here are looking for multiple item real power spikes, and they're playing into 100 Thieves, who their AD carry, not too shabby flowers. FBI won multiple awards, and he's the one who got the Jinx in the trade. The reason we're in this predicament of Champ Select where Gwen is actually in the game for once is because 100 Thieves make the calculated decision to leave Gwen up from their red side ban, and instead, assuming that the Gwen is first picked, they get the Jinx. So now they're the ones with the bot side FBI carry Jinx snowball, and they already played a game where Ssumday had a really strong performance on the split push Tryndamere. So I actually really like how 100 Thieves have set this up in theory, as long as the Gwen doesn't get out of hand and take over the game.
I really like the fact that they went for their top laner before the second part of the bans came in as well. They wanted to make sure that not only did TSM get a Gwen, they didn't want to allow them to take out some of the matchups she would not prefer. I would expect Tryndamere to be one of those bans if they didn't lock it in here. That's now going to be Ssumday's champion. Very hard carry potential on that one too. Plenty of 1v1, plenty of split push threat. Kalista banned out by 100 Thieves. Aphelios as well. Not surprised at all to see the AD carry focus here, considering it has not been drafted for TSM. TSM, though, they've already got their jungler. They know that 100 Thieves doesn't, so they'll ban Xin Zhao and Volibear away from the Thieves.
Yeah, I gotta say, I am pretty impressed with this draft from 100 Thieves, how they've kind of manipulated TSM from red side, which does have the guaranteed counter pick, but in the current meta, most people have been preferring the blue side since they feel like red side doesn't have the versatility in their bans. But 100 Thieves are taking that chance, giving over the Gwen, and they're investing in mobile oppressive jungle for closer as well to threaten those early possibilities. So as long as it goes according to plan to them and they can get FBI strong for these team fights, and they can keep Ssumday in a strong, even footing, situation here with Gwen on top side early, plus even possibly go aggressive with the Tryndamere plus Lee Sin combination, then it looks on paper pretty good to me. TSM though, they've got some pick potential for their bottom lane. When you have two solo lanes that scale, you cannot have a bottom lane that also isn't going to have any priority or playmaking, okay?
You don't like all 3 lanes having no agency early, Kobe?
Yeah, as a jungler, I want to pull out all my hair. So the one thing that it does though is Spica is kind of, big arrow is kind of funneled towards bottom side, because bottom side is the only one where they really have set up for him. Tactical and Yursan both have possibilities here with the Jarvan, but that might be seen by 100 Thieves, and so they can concentrate their vision efforts on gank pass towards bottom side. For Jarvan, you have to ward over the back of the Dragon Pits, plus you have to cover like Tri-Brush, plus you have to cover, entrance into the river.
You gotta cover a lot.
There's a lot of stuff you have to cover, but if you know you want to focus your vision there because that's where the comp is pointing, then it does allow you to kind of focus your vision resources. And the other thing is that you can kind of upset expectations and gank one of these lanes that doesn't have setup for you. If maybe, a solo lane burns a flash or something like that, I think that would be very, very difficult though, because Ahri and Tryndamere are super difficult for Jarvan. Both of them can get out of Jarvan's ultimate. So I think, 100 Thieves have made some calculated choices here. And if they lose, you're always going to get flamed for giving up the Gwen. But I think that, the trade backs that they got were pretty intentional and have been pretty well received.
Yeah, it seemed like a draft that had a mission, and now it's time for the game. Alrighty, here we go, everybody. TSM versus 100 Thieves. The big thing that I want to talk about here early on, of course, we've got Gwen in the game. That's something that is abnormal. But what you were talking about in draft, about how Gwen likes to scale, Viktor likes to scale. Neither of them have really exceptional gank assist tools, so you're looking for TSM and Spica in particular to be focused on this bottom half of the map.
Yeah, and so you're expecting the junglers to start topside so that they can clear down towards the lane that is more volatile for them. Looks to be the case here. Not a big surprise. Let's see. There is one sweeper in inventory in the hands of Yursan on the Nautilus, but he's just heading back out to bottom side, so it's probably just going to be the deep ward to try and keep track of the start here. It's actually not even that deep, but it will be deep enough to see that one small raptor up here on the side. So if you keep your eyes peeled, then and looking over it, then you can see them move, but it's not super deep, so not going to give the best of info. Meanwhile, the response ward from 100 Thieves is just defensive and won't necessarily see Spica start, who, going against kind of expectations, is going to start here on the red buff. Jarvan has possibilities for level 2 craziness too, so Spica wants to keep them on their toes and not play into any sort of expectations for predicting his early Jarvan movements.
Okay, Huni's already going to start off squaring off against Ssumday here as soon as the minions collide. But the other thing I want to touch on really quick, since we were talking about the bot lane, we're talking about this focus, neither AD carry takes cleanse this time around. Sometimes, if you have hard CC supports, if you have a draft where it looks like the focus will be on bottom lane, you'll see AD carries make that choice over heal. But both Tactical and FBI going for the combat power instead.
And I want to call attention back to what I was talking about before, because they got a deep ward on Krugs as well. So TSM have full information to know that Lee Sin doing at least 2 camps on bottom side, since they know Raptors and Krugs have not been leashed or moved at all. So Closer has awareness of the Raptor ward. He circumvents this ward, walks around it, doesn't pull the Raptors, just goes to red. So TSM have pretty good early info, but your tracking gets a little hazy now. After you get 2.5 minutes into the game, it could have been full 3 camps on blue quadrant and transition over, but he has a little bit of leeway here. But one thing he doesn't know is that this ward was placed on Krug, so while he was able to get around the Raptor ward and avoid any sort of alert from TSM, he did not know that the Krug ward was there, so now he is revealed, and TSM will be able to avoid the early possibilities here. So Huni walks up, and he should be able to play appropriately. With Spica also kind of upsetting those expectations and starting on the bottom side of the map, he's in position to answer this first gank. He's going for the Scuttle Crab, though, and Huni's saying, "Don't worry, I got it, bro." I don't know if he's got it. I don't think
Huni's in trouble. Is Gwen immune enough? No! First blood to Ssumday.
So they know Closer just cleared Clerks. He's on top side. The comms had to have been, "Don't worry, I've got it. You know, I'll be able to work my own way out," because Spica went on to
oh boy. Bottom side, Huhi has to get away, down to 100 HP. He'll flash out to stay alive on that one. Closer still hanging out, fighting Spica in the top side. Flash out from FBI now too. Yursan looking to just chase after these guys. He's got the mark on Huhi. And TSM strikes back. They get the kill in the 2v2 bottom.
Tactical and Yursan opening up an opportunity for TSM just as their top side gets killed.
Oh, and we ain't done. We ain't done. Sonic Wave only hits the minion. Resonating Strike brings Closer right back in. Huni backs away. 100 Thieves aren't going to get another kill on this one, but they are pressuring that Gwen.
Okay, so the 1v1 on top side attract a lot of attention here. If they can get the recall off, though, bottom side is open shooting grounds down there. Everybody blowing summoners. There's only one flash left in the entire bottom lane in the hands of Tactical. Closer here is on a ward as well, spending so much time. He does not know that this ward is in the brush, and Huni's job now is to try and waste more of Closer's time if he possibly can, because that would allow Spica to make a play on bottom side, take advantage of the play from Tactical and Yursan. Oh my gosh, this is taking so long for Closer to reset here. This is very, very good for TSM.
Yeah, look at the farm of Closer just sitting on 18 there for the Lee Sin. He will be able to reset now, picks up the 2 longswords, but I mean, it's the same buy that the Jarvan was able to get, so I guess they're pretty even there.
Yeah, but the problem is Jarvan is big 10 CS, jungle CS ahead of Closer, and is on bottom side first, so he gets Scuttle Crab, he gets position in River, he's got the control wards set up here, so, you know, Yursan and Tactical, they earn their own advantage, but because of the top side resets for jungle, TSM get to leverage that advantage that the bottom lane duo was able to earn.
TSM up 500 gold after the little bit of back and forth here in the early game. Despite the pressure from Closer in the top lane, Huni still has a nice farm advantage over Ssumday with those minions colliding evenly back in that middle spot of top lane, meaning it's not like there's a bunch of extra ones there for Ssumday to be able to farm up. So Huni's happy enough with that despite the early death. Bottom lane, Tactical's also got that farm lead there on the Jhin. And this is one thing that you like to see if you're a TSM fan, the Nautilus and the Jhin having that advantage, having that threat to make it so FBI and Huhi don't want to step up and don't really feel like they can really contest these guys in the 2v2.
Yeah, and after the cover on top side didn't really work for Spica, you can tell, you know, he's trying to play off of the Jhin Nautilus playmaking, trying to play off of all the summoners blown on top side, but they push it all the way into tower, so it's just a full reset here. He covers to make sure there's no Closer play, trying to take advantage of them, and should be able to meet right back up. Since both junglers are mirrored and starting on bottom side of the map, their respawns, their second respawns of small camps, both will lead them naturally back to the top side as well. And so we again put focus up here. Ssumday will have his ultimate plus the double mobility summoner. So Huni has to play more respectfully this time around. Last time, they saw Closer finish up on the Krugs, and with Spica in the river, he kind of exposed himself there and gave up the first kill.
And Ssumday is more than comfortable here on this Tryndamere, being that split push hero for 100 Thieves. We'll see how this continues to move forward as our game moves on. Yursan has rotated over into mid lane. Level 5 on the Nautilus. Huhi's still level 4 on the Thresh, but he's still bottom picking up EXP, so should be able to ding that level 5 here pretty quickly himself. All of our solo laners past the ulti mark thus far. Abbeddage and Keaiduo both having those ultis ready to go, but Abbeddage specifically pretty low in terms of the mana pool, so I'm not expecting to see a whole lot out of him. Exactly, he's going to go back, he's going to base. Ionian Boots of Lucidity will help him be able to avoid both the Viktor lasers or getting trapped in the gravity well if they try to set up something there in the mid lane. Yeah. Spica still not with Cataclysm either. It is Closer, the first one to hit that ulti in the jungle, and I want to see him make a play with it.
Yeah, it actually is interesting here because the choice for Ahri always, with old Ahri, was all about burst damage and Sorksu's rush. And Sorksu's is still over 50% purchase here for Ahri, but becoming so much more popular to get the cooldown reduction because the changes to the champion with those last rounds of buffs, the mini rework, did put so much more damage into the other basic abilities, so you're not all about the burst after hitting a charm.
Yeah.
And so you get so much more out of the multiple rotations of spells out and cooldown. And considering the fact that you can get your resets on your ultimate, Ahri actually gets multiple looks at those engages and isn't so much kind of funneled into that, you know, burst pool. So stacking that cooldown reduction, that ability haste with the build with both the boots as well as the early Kindle Gem, going to both kind of help him in those endeavors. So Rift Herald picked up, though, without any sort of contest off of that top side prominence there.
Yep.
And right in the hands of Closer, will be traded away for the Dragon. no surprises.
Yep, TSM has control over the bottom lane. They have for a while now, and that's going to translate into an easy pickup on this, especially with, like you just said, it was closer up in the top side, securing the Rift Herald. So trade of neutral objectives, Infernal Drake for TSM, Rift Herald for 100 Thieves. They will have the opportunity, even if they use it at the last second, it will get plates. So I'm curious where they want to drop that at.
Yeah, and honestly, I am always a really big fan of trying to crack mid lane, as most people are, because middle of the map allows you a lot more mobility, but especially in this case, because Viktor really does, you know, rely on keeping up turret, and his wave clear is quite good. So if you can keep up turret and wave clear to 2 items on Viktor, and then you feel so much safer. But Ahri, if you're able to use Rift Herald mid, knock down mid turret for the side of 100 Thieves, and open up that pressure for Ahri to be able to threaten both the ganks onto the Viktor, but then also get first roam, that is a huge, huge benefit for your team. So ideally, if they could make a play around mid and, you know, try and get that mid turret down with the Herald for 100 Thieves, that would be exceptional. Obviously, also, whenever you have Jinx, you can go for the plays where you force on a turret, and even if they match, you try and bully them by getting a reset on Jinx passive. If she gets excited off the turret with a Rift Herald charge, you know, then you have to also respect it.
Well, up here in topside, let's take another look at how things are going down. It's going to be Tier 2 Boots Rush for both of our champions, as plated steel caps for Huni are very effective at dealing with a champion that is almost exclusively auto-attack damage, whereas for Ssumday, attack speed boots on Tryndamere, man. You don't got to worry about defenses when you can't die. Just run them down and make sure you kill them first.
Yeah, both boots are focused on Tryndamere's auto attacks. Yep. Both the purchase from Gwen and Tryndamere himself. All about those. And this Tryndamere, again, I really like, as far as power level, the state of Tryndamere, if you're playing the Tryndamere, because his split push options are very strong, and even with Gwen in the state that she is, Tryndamere loves making hull breaker, can get a lot of side lane pressure, and Gwen really does need kind of the 2 item power spike before you really get to flex on people.
Yeah.
Getting your mythic is good, but you really need the extra, either Super Chad attack speed of the Nashers, or more common, the Cosmic Drive for the cooldown reduction to really start to bully people. And of course, the cooldown reduction from Cosmic Drive is also better for the team fights because you get more of those W's that everybody loves.
So one thing I do want to touch on here real quick is the fact that the game state has really not changed at all since the last time we checked in on the gold, at least. At 5.5 minutes, it was a couple hundred advantage for TSM. Now almost 12 minutes in, it's actually shrinking a little bit, and it's 100 Thieves who have closed that gap. Things aren't really exploding a ton here in the early game. Both teams are happy enough just moving forward, not forcing any of these early plays, but it is Huhi dragging in tactical. Gale Force allows him to reposition a little bit, get out of trouble without having to spend either one of his summoner spells, but I like the attempt coming out from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, quick thinking there for him, but he lands the snare as well, and he gets shot on FBI!
But now they can aim at either one. Who's it gonna be? 4th shot! Oh, it's so damn close, but not enough.
Huhi is squeezing tight!
Oh!
The W, and FBI can't get in front. Was Tactical out of vision there? Because he moved up really close towards that lane, lands the snipe. This TSM bottom lane is the hope of TSM. They're playing off it. They have the dragon, so you can continue to play off that bottom side. Yursan and Tactical, again, punishing FBI Huhi. After what seemed like a good play, you know, Huhi lands the hook there, and they go for it, but Tactical avoids everything, just Gale Forcing to the side. He doesn't blow any unnecessary summoner spells, and then reopens up with the Jhin ultimate, abusing the extra range there, and Yursan setting him up with the hook. So again, massive performance. Off screen, we did not see the play towards mid lane here, where I'm assuming Viktor's going to get ward hopped on, and Ahri goes in. So that's how they blew the flash. Okay, so it's just the Ahri ultimate used for it, and they did get that mid Rift Herald we were looking for. But yeah, the pull from Yursan to pull Huhi a little bit away from FBI to allow the shot go on to him. Then they almost get him here. I wish we could do Fog of War. He's in. He's at the tower. They definitely have vision, but no movement there. able to block.
And right when we get back to live, this is why it was important that we saw Viktor's flash earlier. Keaiduo gets picked off by the roam squad of 100 Thieves.
Call that foreshadowing, Flowers.
Yeah. Chekhov's Thresh.
Here's some need-to-know information. Oh, observers, why do we need to know this information?
Yeah.
Well, he's about to die, and that one's going to turn into Dragon. Unfortunate for TSM because their bottom lane control had been so useful in a possible Dragon stacking scenario. Now it's cut off by really good mid kill there for 100 Thieves. Again, blowing the Summoner spell, then returning to that scene, and chunking down the mid turret is definitely according to game plan for them. To try and get mid control, allowing Ahri to roam around and make those plays.
Tactical continues putting in work on the bottom lane tier 1 turret now as well. 14.5 minutes in means plates have very recently fallen. Despite the fact that he didn't get the jinx this game because of what we were talking about in the draft with 100 Thieves leaving open the Gwen to bait them into it, keep Tactical off that jinx, it still feels like, and the gold chart backs me up here, this is TSM going all aboard the Tactical hype train.
I mean, Tactical has been performing very, very well for them. And Jhin has actually been one of his best champions throughout his career. So excited to see what they can do, you know, off of the early good play from both him and Yursan. But 100 Thieves still are, you know, controlling these neutral objectives. So they got one Dragon, they get Rift Herald number 2, and they might get Huni. But it's a Gwen, so they have to run.
Yep, they're just going to disengage that one. They're saying, okay, there's no way Huni runs in an honest-to-God 1v3, even if he is Gwen. Backup is coming, and we can't kill him before that, so just disengage him and get out. 100 Thieves, they'll take the objective. They get everybody away.
All right, Rift Herald number 2, not nearly as valuable as number 1, of course, and TSM still have this meager gold lead. 770 gold to their advantage, but it's more about transitioning your bottom lane win.
Yeah.
After taking bottom turret, they do the fairly standard rotate them to top side because Viktor wants to stay mid at his tower so he can keep wave clearing, keep scaling.
Oh boy. Ssumday has just decided he wants the 1v1 here in bottom lane. Huni tries to get away. Ssumday stays alive. You can't immune that one. Ssumday gets the execution.
I have to say, Ssumday's Tryndamere games have both been exceptional. He pulls this dive off with just a little bit of health to give. TSM wants to punish on top side, though, and they go for the dive.
FBI pops both summoner spells to get away. Huhi uses his stopwatch to stay alive, but will it keep him living all the way? Spica's going to be taken down next, or is he? So many low health
They used it already.
Oh, Huhi and Spica both barely walking away from that one.
100 Thieves are able to defend the top side play, so in the end, it's just the success of Ssumday over the last minute here. You know, him with the 1v1 onto Huni under tower, barely gets it. Gale Force activation, which this is my favorite build for Tryndamere. I don't like the whole breakers, you know, concentrate on split push. I like the crit builds off of playmaking from your Gale Force to actually kill people instead of just trying to ignore them and take down the towers. And this is why Ssumday goes Gale Force this time around. He gets the W onto Huni. It doesn't slow, but it still does the attack damage reduction, which even though it's an AP champion, still significant for these trades. Gale Force up to chase him through, and since Huni has the Ignite, does not have the Flash himself, isn't able to disengage, getting right outside there for Ssumday, and then he returns and takes the tower as his second reward.
You know, normally I'm not a big fan of watching Tryndamere beat somebody to death underneath a turret while they can't do anything about it, but when it's Gwen, it sort of feels fair. You know, it sort of feels like, you know what, Gwen, this is kind of what you do to people too.
OP versus OP feels fair.
When everybody's OP, everybody's balanced. Equilibrium has been achieved, except in terms of the farm up there in that top lane role. Ssumday massively outpacing his opponent in terms of that regard.
Yeah, you know what's not fair is it turns out Ssumday.
Yeah,
Ssumday is in fact OP himself, and that's why I want to focus on him because his use of the Tryndamere in the previous game for 100 Thieves as well is the exact reason I cited on the dive for my faith in this team. And he's proving once again, you know, it is not just this champion, it is his play with the champion. Yes, it is definitely in a very good state right now, but Ssumday has been so incredibly good at this, not only in those 1v1s and the tower dives, but he's also been quite good in playing out the later stages for 100 Thieves, keeping up his pressure while also being able to escape so many of these scenarios. And now Flowers, he's got that Hullbreaker on top of the Gale Force.
And it's not just Tryndamere, and it's not just now. Remember, this is the guy who's been on 100 Thieves since 100 Thieves was here, man. This is the legacy player for this squad. This is the guy that's been a part of all of it from back in the day when they were getting 3-0'd by Liquid in that first final that they made it to now he's here 3-0 in Liquid in the first final that they won. Ssumday is 100 Thieves to me and to so many people who watch this team. He's so critical and he's so good at League of Legends in so many different styles.
And my friends, now is a good time to sing his praises as we rightfully have been, because he is a full item ahead of Huni. It's one thing to talk about kills, you know, and pushing and getting map pressure and the towers down, but this man is a full item ahead of the Gwen. So scaling be damned here, because Tryndamere also scales well, and
he's scaled to the powerful late game of 19 minutes.
Exactly. If you have a full extra item here with the Hullbreaker from all his tower money and the kills that he's gotten, you are truly a king among men here in this League of Legends game.
Isn't that like Tryndamere's title, Barbarian King or something like that? I don't know what it is.
I've got no idea. I know his weapon is some sort of demon weapon. That's about it.
Yeah,
that takes some of my lore knowledge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's part of his arm in this skin. It's not even like an actual sword. It's just blended. Thank you, Observer. Let's see. The sword is just his arm. Yeah, he's all sorts of evil in this one.
That skin reminds me of the like two expansions ago of WoW, where everything had eyeballs and tentacles on it.
I don't know anything about WoW.
It was a really weird aesthetic. I did not like it at all, and it was just like every single piece of gear just had eyeballs and tentacles all over it.
You're not a big fan of having eyeballs on all your swords and all your gadgets?
Not so much. But someday
you don't want your opponents to have to look your sword in the eye when it kills them?
Yeah, stare into the eye of death.
Well, Ssumday is feeling good, and he's making TSM say wow on this one, because they do not have an answer for this Tryndamere at this point in time. They are all grouped here around the top side.
Though? Okay.
Could they try to just make some sort of a brute force play? I don't think so. Closer's also hanging out around the area. Both of our junglers level 11, both of our junglers with those gore drinkers, and not a whole lot else. 100 Thieves are bringing up the backup, seeing how many bodies were up here from the side of TSM. 100 Thieves still with a 2,000 gold lead. TSM still with a Drake lead, but again, there is that one taken from 100 Thieves. There's no pressure of the actual soul just yet, coming up anytime soon. You can see Abbeddage now being sent into the bottom lane to split push against Huni, while we still have Ssumday being that threat, making his way back out onto the map now, picking up another Warhammer for even more of that cooldown reduction and damage.
Yeah, and guess what? Keaiduo has scaled on Viktor here. So, you know, he's 2-item Viktor. TSM do have powerful AP carry for the team fight, even if Huni is super far behind. They do have the Viktor at least, and you know, Huni's main goal is trying to collect as much cash as he possibly can, and tell Ssumday to, hey, hold on, wait a second for me to catch up. Abbeddage is not going to let him catch up.
Well, we've got a TP coming in.
Now,
could be in some trouble.
Cornered.
Now you got no option except forward, and it will end up a 1-for-1. Ahri's got no way out of this one. Yursan ends up getting the kill credits. And hey, honestly, I like it. I like it because Abbeddage was able to flex, hey, Gwen is supposed to be OP right now. She's an S-tier pick. She's permaban. You couldn't survive against our top laner. You can't survive against me. You cannot survive against us.
And this goes back exactly to what we were talking about in Champion Select Flowers. While people will always have these magnifying glasses on these singular champions that are very standard to ban. Oh, the flash play from Spica. Do they have this? They got FBI!
FBI is done for. Tactical gets the killing spree now. Picking that one off with the curtain call. Nice pick from TSM.
This is huge. You know, they get the kill on Abba down on bottom side. Then they pick off the other carry FBI here towards Baron for them. You know, getting gold in the correct place here again. Tactical does have 3 kills on the Jhin, so TSM are trying to chip away at this gold lead from 100 Thieves, and it also allows them the time to clear out some of the vision here too, so that they don't become the victims of more of these Ahri picks Also getting the turret money onto Keaiduo, but now he's the one encircled by 300 Thieves members.
Here we go. Goodbye, Keaiduo. I don't think there's...
funny, actually.
Yeah, it sounds like there were 300 Thieves going after him. Like, one more than 200. Uh-oh. Closer pressed the wrong button there, but they still got the kill, so I'm calling that a dub for 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves members. Similar problem to the Blue and River namings, I guess.
Yeah, we're having one of those fiascos here. But 100 Thieves, they're going after the Baron. They are daring TSM to come stop them. Lots of assist me pings coming out from the blue side as TSM knows they have to challenge this. Yursan's going to get rooted up there.
They got it.
Oh my goodness, 100
smite?
Thieves. They're challenging them here. Spica's the only one who might be able to stop this and steal it away, but now they're going to focus onto the Jarvan. Instead, the Baron's going to be taken low, but they don't outsmite Closer. He's ready to go. He locks in the objective, and Tactical's going to get run down by the Barbarian King of Eyeball Swords. Shut down over to Ssumday.
Oh my god, Tactical tried to help Spica get the Baron low too, so he gets in there, he hits it with the 4-shot, it gets down to 1,000 health. And I swear, my time stops for a second. That Baron was at around 1,000 health for what seemed like an eternity. Damage was stopped though by 100 Thieves correctly, and then Closer still secures the Baron for them. TSM, valiant effort there, trying to salvage the situation, go for the steal, but 100 Thieves, steady hands prevail. Take a look at the setup here once again in the replay. Spica threatens around the opposite side. They correctly send Huhi and Ssumday over to try and threaten Spica so he can't get in, but then Tactical flashes forward, he 4-shots it down to 1,000 health. It's just sitting there for so long. Nobody wants to hit it to go for it. But then the combination from Closer, and they finish off Spica. FBI gets the kill, so he's reset, and they have the Baron, but 100 Thieves are able to bridge a tenuous situation here. And now they are 4.5K, 4.6K up, evened up on the Dragons, ready to push away.
The Dragon Point is what I was about to say, because during the replay, we got to see 100 Thieves pick up the Drake after the fact. Means we're tied 2-2 there. You already mentioned the gold lead. We've got 1.5 minutes left of Baron. They've already made 3,000 gold off of it. Jump that up to over 4 as the tier 2 falls in bottom lane. Ssumday is just an absolute menace on this Tryndamere. TSM have to dig their heels into the dirt and get ready to defend this one. One tier 2 turret standing in mid, one tier 2 turret standing in top. After that, it's time to defend inhibitors.
And this is what we were talking about earlier with Ssumday's successful split pushing on the Tryndamere. He has yet to be caught in either of the games, to my recollection. With double mobility summoner spells, having Ghost and Flash, this champion is so annoying to deal with. What a nuisance in the side lane.
It's like a Looney Tunes skin.
And you have Gale Force, and since now he's completed his Quick Blades on top of it, that gives you the extra cooldown reduction to spam your spinning slash. And so there's just so much mobility and frustrations around the ultimate built into this champion that it takes a ridiculous amount of time to deal with that problem in the side lane, and brings us all the way back to our original point of 100 Thieves intelligent draft. Giving up the Gwen with a purpose, going against the grain of everybody permabanning this champion, and they have so many answers and give up. And what they get back on the other side is, FBI's Jinx here, taken away from Tactical, who, despite that, still had a really good game.
Yeah.
But how they were able to play in it and have the answer here and play around it, going to show that nothing here is kind of beyond reproach, and nothing is unplayable.
And this shows two important things. One, about each team for me in the draft. One, 100 Thieves know how to answer Gwen. If you take it early like that, they can formulate a way to deal with it. And if you're TSM, other teams are looking at you and saying, maybe we can just leave Gwen open. Small
side note, Huni was kind of trolling with the first death. As we talked about them having vision of Closer on the Krugs too, that was a little bit over aggressive, I guess.
A fair point.
We shall say.
A fair point
now
indeed.
TSM are in this state here, down 7.2K after the explosion of a lead from 100 Thieves after their successful Baron play. And now after the reset, they've been able to purchase with all of that gold that they earned. So that power is now in inventory. and their pressure on the map is very difficult since there is Unleashed Teleport for Abbeddage, who is equally as mobile with the ultimate up on Ahri as Ssumday's Tryndamere, and they can play to all 3 lanes, pushing the waves first against TSM and kind of forcing TSM to continue to give up resources. You see Ssumday is already all the way down at this bottom turret, and he forces not 1, but at least 2 people to answer his split push now. So you can continue to force multiple people to you to answer your pressure while gaining massive resources.
And he's already got the last whisper started here.
Can
he's
5
got the
people
armor
get him,
penetration? Can 5 people? I don't know.
They don't want to waste 5 people's time.
That is the problem. I actually don't know if 5 people can kill this Tryndamere if he has his Ghost and Flash ready.
Well, Yursan, just by going over there and warding, and by virtue of all TSM members being in Fog of War, did at least get the Ghost out of him. So Ssumday here giving appropriate caution to the scenario, blows his lowest cooldown of mobility. Summoner spell here does blow at least the Ghost, so maybe TSM can count that as as the smallest of wins.
Well, Ssumday just about has his flash back up. There it is. And now we've got 30 seconds on our Drake. We've got 45 seconds on Baron. 100 Thieves will opt to set up around the Baron, of course. I don't really see TSM being able to try to make a sneak Drake play without a punish from 100 Thieves. TSM grouping up around the Baron themselves. They're looking maybe for an angle onto Abbeddage here, but he's very, very well aware that something might be up. Just backs away, clears out the rest of the wave. I smell a team fight coming on soon here, Mr. Kobe, because 100 Thieves have all the tools they need to force TSM to respond, and it's up to TSM to try to figure out how to navigate this very dire game state.
After our conversation at the beginning of the day, I thought you were going to smell something else. Let's get this Baron spawn, though, and into the Rift, baby. TSM, can they weasel their way out of this one? It's a 7,000 gold lead for the 100 Thieves, and Ssumday picks them up the Dragon Soul point as well. If you want to, you got to count the beneficial things, though, for TSM thus far this game. And it is mostly centered on the bottom lane play. Yursan and Tactical have definitely performed for them this game. Let's see what they can do, though. Forcing on Baron. They're trying to bring 100 Thieves to them, but can they get the outplay on the Baron?
Okay, FBI is going to fire off the Zap, clear out Pixel Brush. TSM still on Baron, taking it down to about half now. Ssumday spinning into the enemy jungle. He's on the blue. Wants to steal that one away. He'll grab it. Super Mega Death Rocket onto 2. Spica and Huni, both injured significantly.
Baron
down to 4,000, and now it's 100 Thieves ready to go in. Yursan's the first to die. They're going to get a resurrection coming out now. TSM's already lost 200 Thieves cleaning up everybody. TSM, this was a disaster, and 100 Thieves made it look simple.
Yeah, I mean, TSM are so far behind, they just wanted to try and force the flip. There's 2 options. You know, you either try and wave clear with your Viktor at your inhibitor turrets constantly, and 100 Thieves will take the Baron and then come knocking at your doors, or you run right into the Baron pit and you flip it. Well, guess what? It came up 100 Thieves.
Everything is coming up 100 Thieves now, my friend. They're just going to walk it in for the end, it appears. They got 10 seconds left on Tactical and Spica, though, so not quite yet. TSM still alive in this game, but just barely hanging on. Abbeddage putting a little bit of extra damage into the tier 3 before he backs away. The Baron was not taken by either side. 100 Thieves just forced it into a full-on fight before that was able to happen, but now the Thieves are able to back off, regroup, focus that Baron themselves, while Abbeddage still applies pressure in the bottom lane to distract TSM. Baron down to below half. TSM is moving towards this. 100 Thieves burning it down pretty swiftly. There you go. Baron secured. Closer and Ssumday can both get out of the pit incredibly easily. Kobe, I'm past the point where really I can give you any serious response to how TSM can win this game outside of 100 Thieves just completely throwing.
I will accept non-serious answers then. So
all of the 100 Thieves players' computers explode.
Oh my, that would be a fire hazard here. So I sincerely hope that
all I got.
Does not happen in the LCS studio. But here's the flip from TSM. They want to try and force it, but 100 Thieves aren't even going to let them get Baron low enough to actually flip it. They wait for a substantial amount of damage to be absorbed by the TSM frontline that are tanking Baron, and then they don't even let it get to a smite fight. They force the engage after. So 100 Thieves with the appropriate response to the attempt from TSM to introduce volatility into this game that they were currently losing, and cleanly and calmly executed by the Thieves. Knowing that they have the lead, they can wait till 4,000 health on the Baron, then they go for the engage with both the health lead and the massive item and positioning advantage around that Baron. You don't need another play-by-play of that massacre around Baron pit.
Not really. Not really. 100 Thieves pushing in, looking to end the game now. They've got a little bit of damage onto Closer, though, from the side of TSM, nearly bursting him down, but he gets away, and instead it'll be 2 back the other way. Abbeddage on a rampage as the enemy jungler and support are down. That's a lot of your CC. That's pretty much all of your engage, and the remaining players have to try to defend. FBI blocking some shots there for Closer. He doesn't have Guardian Angel available this time, so he does actually have to respect the possibility of death. There's the Guardian Angel from FBI, immediately pulled to safety thanks to Huhi's Lantern. Nexus turret's taking a lot of damage now. That first one nearly dead. 100 Thieves still looking to end the game here. 8 seconds on Yursan's respawn, 15 seconds here on Spica. TSM doing a good job staying alive, but Tactical gets 2 hyphy, and FBI gets a rampage, 14-4. 100 Thieves keeping that push alive. Keaiduo is the only one left to try to clear the waves out. Huni standing tall, trying to defend. Gwen is immune, but only for a certain amount of time, and now that protection falls. TSM defending this last Nexus turret. It is the only structure left here in their base besides the Nexus. There goes Spica. There goes TSM. 100 Thieves will pad the stats a little bit more. They'll even get the last little bit for the ace, and 100 Thieves take the win.
100 Thieves with a nice dub for themselves, even though the end looked like a massive, massive steamroll. There were positives for TSM in the early stages, all centered around bottom lane. You know,
yes.
The bottom lane duo had quite a few good plays for them. And I think that's the part of review to hold over for TSM, because this team is at the bottom of the standings. Let's be frank. This is an organization that historically has not been there, but that is the truth of 2022 TSM. And so they need to take those small positives from the game and try and build on those, you know, for consecutive us. Meanwhile, for 100 Thieves, very nicely and cleanly played out. Ssumday again, immaculate. Tryndamere, immaculate split push. He earns 1v1's advantages. He earns team advantages.
Just change his name to every day, because every single day he's doing this.
Well, that's nice for Super Weeks. You know, if he can be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Someday, massive Tryndamere performances from him in all the games that he has gotten it as well. So 100 Thieves look like a very promising, you know, force towards the top of the standings here for LCS, where in Super Week we do expect to have a decent amount of mobility in the standings.
Right.
With us finishing out the full round robin, we can finally get the full perspective on real power scores after each team plays every other team at the end of the week, and people get to make their real judgments for spring.
And the thing that I really love here too is the fact that 100 Thieves started off this Super Week, which you said has all that potential mobility, with a draft flex too, saying, hey, we're gonna leave Gwen open. What are you gonna do? Oh, you're gonna do that? Smack! Just immediately stomping all over him. Just beautifully done from the side of 100 Thieves here in this win. And now it's time for us to join La Tigris and